Paradigm Shift, episode 177. 177 weeks in a row, no weeks off, you dig. Big shout out and acknowledgement. Thank you to my partner in crime, Big Dave, who signs on wherever he is traveling in the world. And I look forward to seeing where he is right now. Let's bring on Dave. Let's get this party started. And let's see how handsome this cat's about to look. And then we have not one, but two phenomenal guests on. And I can't wait to dive in. Let us know how you guys are feeling in the comments. What are you most excited about this weekend in life in general? Colleen in the house, great to see you. Big Dave.
What's up, Mr. Siegel the Eagle?
Hey, you. How are you? Good morning.
I'm fantastic. I'm getting ready. Stop by VCon again and then go to the Infinite Growth Summit, keynoting with Tim Story. And we're out in Los Angeles and have a VIP lunch after the keynote. And there's a lot going on. I'm going down to the beach house finally tomorrow. So super excited to see my mom and go to my beach house, and it's been way too long.
Good. What are you going to talk about today?
I'm going to talk about the 5 daily practices in the context of infinite versus pragmatic time. And so in evaluation of the daily practices that we have, negotiables, non-negotiables, paid for, not paid for, sleep, we have to weight a balance of the man-made construct of time, the 24 hours of our lifetime, and the aggregate of 365 days for so many years, which equals a guarantee of every day except for the last day of our life will be cheated, hours, minutes, seconds, etc. But how do we determine how much time do we spend at the infinite? Right, there's certain things that we do that are abundant, infinite in its nature, that aren't scarce. You know, when do we make the choice to be kind and generous to other people instead of just self-interested in our own man-made constructs? And there has to be a balance. You can't, you know, I'm a big believer in taking care of yourself to take care of others. But when do we take care of others, even at the detriment of ourselves? And take that timing and risk tolerance. So it's a huge conflict, the constructs in the infinite growth that we can have. We'll never achieve infinite growth because infinite in its nature is unfathomable. And that also creates more fear, and then we react to it and become more scarce. But that's what I'm going to talk about today. I got to be careful though, because I know, you know, I've been mentoring you in this. I got to be careful because you can get too far outside of people understanding what the fuck you're talking about. And, you know, then you're doing yourself a detriment because you're self-serving in your speech because you think you make sense. And meanwhile, it's so far above everyone else's understanding or awareness, you've actually damaged your cause. So in the infinite, because it's unfathomable, I'm going to try today to utilize language and frequency that people would understand step by step. So that's why I'm using the framework of the daily practices and then sprinkle in the ideas of the conflict between the infinite and man-made constructs that exist in the world and the balance between them.
This is the good stuff. I love it. It's a different consciousness. For you personally, and we'll bring on our first guest, when you catch yourself maybe with a desire to receive for the self alone, or maybe the wrong consciousness, what is something that you do to reel yourself back in and become aware of it and nip it in the bud?
Well, it's a constant study of clues and patterns to make better choices. And I really try to focus in on my reaction to fear of the infinite. And so the reaction to fear of the infinite is instant and obvious. And so I don't have to understand physics, metaphysics, and quantum physics in order to facilitate some sort of infinite growth. If I just look at, for example, when I have a need to be offended, that's a pattern of mine, then all I utilize is man-made constructive time to shorten the distance of resistance by seeking wisdom in the circumstances of today of my reactions of the past in alignment with where I want to be or better, utilizing radical humility that I don't understand or know the outcome that has caused me to have a need to be offended. And so the only thing I can do to get back to the peace and ease, the omniscient and all powerful, is to use that wisdom and faith that I'm protected, promoted, and loved by what I don't understand in order to shorten the distance, the time that I spend accelerating in the wrong direction, creating interference between me and my inspiration, my intuition, my intelligence and awareness that allows me to accelerate, aggregate, and compound exponentially the ease that I've been blessed with. And so this construct of understanding what clues and patterns I react to is instant and obvious. So if I have a need to be offended and it causes me to be worried, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, whatever it is, I know it instantly. Now I'm not wasting any time trying to do something that's going to accelerate me in the wrong direction called bad behavior, but instead accelerate me in the right direction that I want to be in or better called good behavior.
I love it. In Kabbalah, we call it a tikkun, meaning we each have negative tendencies that we're on a journey to transform and correct. It sounds like the need to be offended is one of yours. It's a lifelong transformation.
I've been studying the Kabbalah for almost 18 years. Tikkun Olam is a predecessor to a lot of the ideas that I have led me into the Course in Miracles and to the general technology of the universe. And so I highly suggest people to explore Kabbalah and understand kind of an inceptive thought of how technology works in the universe.
I love it. And I love you, you sex goose. We're going to bring on our first guest, but while we do, you just dropped a brand new season of Office Hours. Where can everybody watch the full episodes, Dave?
So many places, obviously on Apple TV, it streams, Roku, the airports, you'll see us a lot there on Reach TV, airports and hotel rooms. We, primarily anywhere Apple TV is posted, you can find it. And it's season 6. Episode 2 came out yesterday. So we'll have 10 more episodes, 10 more weeks. Then we'll start doing 2-minute drill, then back to office hours. You can find us all year round with a new episode of something.
I love it. And speaking of handsome,
Very
Tomo,
handsome.
good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? Good to see you both.
We're doing great.
You.
Are you in New York City right now?
I am indeed. I'm in the East Village.
Nice. Okay, let's dive right in. Love getting together with you recently. Love everything you're about. Right now, you're in the thick of things on your journey with your company and brand. Kind of a loaded question, but what do you personally love about entrepreneurship?
I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. Actually, it was something he said something very interesting, which immediately resonated. It's like it's such a weird journey to find yourself on. I didn't ever want or choose to be an entrepreneur. It suddenly just happened to me. And I think the common thing entrepreneurs have, the common element, is a fearlessness. I don't think you are able to survive in this journey unless you become completely fearless. You are aware of how scary it is, and it is really scary. It doesn't ever get any less scary, but you have to accept that fear and you have to face up to it and you have to combat it. And what this guy said yesterday was brilliant. I thought he said every day is different. Every day your level of fear is different. He said, but there's always a little machine whirring away at the back of your head, solving the problems for you. And it never stops. It's there when you're asleep. It's there when you're awake. But that's the thing. It's like knowing that you have an inbuilt physical support system that's always going to propel you forwards is very, very comforting. In fact, I mean, you can't stop. You can't fail. If you're an entrepreneur, you have launched yourself on this journey and you have to see it through to the end. And if I like to think that I'm going to, I'm entirely confident that I will. But yeah, you have to just accept how scary it is. And the weird thing is that it's scary because you're confronted with problems every day, and some of them are terrifying, utterly, utterly terrifying. And the buzz you get from solving those problems is so extreme. That's what keeps you moving forwards, and that's what makes it addictive.
Sounds like a healthy obsession. Dave, what do you agree?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's
I was looking at questions and listening. You know, business itself, and if you're in charge of the business, they call you an entrepreneur. If you start a business, they call you an entrepreneur. And whether you start a business or you're running a business, you are inadequate. The business is inadequate, and it's undercapitalized at all times.
of
And
course,
that's
yeah.
in the expansive nature of a business. So if you look at a business in the prospect of scarcity, it's going to elevate and escalate the fear. What also capitulates an amplified fear is that every single person around you is doubting you more than you doubt yourself. And so not only do you have 80% of the thoughts going through your subconscious mind that you're going to fill because you know your business is inadequate and so are you, and it's expansive, so it's undercapitalized at all times. But anyone that's relying on or loves you enough to want security for you, most likely your parents or your spouse or your best friends, because they love you so much, all they want you to do is be safe. So now they're going to amplify the fear by telling you advice that is based off of fear. And so the whole vacuum, somebody asked you, why does 90% of all businesses fail? Because you don't have the right perspective of a business. A business is not a name. A business is not employees. A business is an initial idea to provide value to others. And then it evolves and expands into an entirely different thing that could have different names, different employees, different entities, different bank accounts. And so at 56 years old, where I have had hundreds of businesses, I've made over $100 million, lost it and made it back. I am still in business for the main reason that every day I still enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential. I remain in business just like I remain alive because I have a heartbeat and it's still beating, and I don't attach my business to a name, employees, entities, or my bank account anymore. And I want people to realize that people take that fear and end up stopping the heartbeat of their business, of their entrepreneur journey, because they stop the heartbeat. And it's not a matter of what people think it is, but there is fear omnipresent because you're always going to have an inadequate business. You're going to be inadequate, and people are going to amplify that fear.
That's good, real good. Um, I want to ask you guys both this, and then we'll bring on our second guest. And Tomo, if you have some time, I'd love for you to hang out for the next 10, 15 minutes if you can.
Sure.
The entrepreneurship, the money, all that stuff we can't take with us. So we have to make sure that we're good now, and then that stuff will amplify. But we can't be happy or not happy based upon that stuff. Tomo, what brings you total fulfillment today?
My family. Being able to balance work with personal time, and I think you're going back to something you guys were talking about before I came on. You have to look after yourself as well as your business. I think COVID slowed everybody down, and I think in that respect it was good for people's heads. I think personally, I was so overwhelmed during COVID because my wife was very sick, and luckily she's now better. But I had so much on my plate, looking after my kids, trying to keep them happy, trying to keep my wife healthy as possible, trying to look after her, trying to keep the business afloat. There had to come a point every day where I switched off, and then I sort of trained myself over a period of months, and this is continuing now. I set myself tasks that have to be done today, and I don't move beyond that list of tasks. I can't, I don't want to overextend myself. I don't want to wear myself too thin or wear myself down. I set myself tasks that need to be done today, and I make sure that those tasks are complete to the best of my ability. After that, I switch off. I mean, I don't turn my phone off. If somebody emails me, I'll answer them. If somebody calls me, I'll pick up the call. But I've completed today's tasks, and you have to give yourself time after that. And my time is spent looking after spending time with my kids, which is what gives me the most joy in the world. And you need that. You need to separate.
Dave, how about you?
Yeah, well, another way to say exactly that for me is I spend 10 hours of my 24 hours in fulfillment. And what that means to me is 7 hours of sleep. I think people miss how to be fulfilled in a third of the life by recovering correctly and accessing the necessary information, a higher frequency to utilize during the day. So that leaves 3 hours a day for me to be fulfilled. And it's exactly what we're talking about, which is with non-negotiables. So I spend a minimum of an hour a day on my health, because you will not be fulfilled. You will not take care of your kids, your wife, or anybody else, your business, if you're not healthy. If you're not healthy, you will have one wish every day, and that's it. So 2, family, and then finance and faith all play a part in the 3 hours on top of my sleep. So I believe fulfillment is enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of those non-negotiables every day and assigning man-made constructive time to it as a minimum every day. It doesn't mean I don't spend more time, but 2 minutes a day is worth 2 hours on a Saturday, especially with your kids. And so make sure that you're aligned with your non-negotiables. This is the success formula for fulfillment. It is the non-negotiables that create a fulfilling, passionate, purposeful, and profitable life.
Amen. That's where we
Makes
drop the mic.
sense.
We'll get warmed up. Brian, thanks for joining us, brother. How are you?
Brian,
I'm
take off your
good.
shirt, bro.
Oh man, I'm in the middle of a volleyball
Nice.
game. I can't. I'm in Austin. It's too hot. I couldn't put it back on.
Should I
No
take
problem.
off mine?
Let's do it.
I love it. And on that, first of all, everyone check out all the stuff Tomo and Brian have going on. Unbelievable. Speaking of peak performance, one of Dave's favorite topics in the world is sleep. Brian, I know you talk about how 8 hours of sleep is the new cool. I'm curious for you, Brian, do you have a wind down routine at the night before you go to sleep?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I turn off the lights in my house. I do watch some TV though. You know, like I know it's not the best, but for me, it's like the only time of day I can relax and watch something. But yeah, I try to stop everything like an hour before I go to sleep, and then yeah, just kind of just make sure I get 8 hours in bed too. A lot of people don't even do that.
Is that a non-negotiable for you, 8 hours of sleep?
Oh yeah, even so today I had to wake up at 6:30 for volleyball, and so like I was in bed 10:30, ready to go. You know, even though it was a Friday night, like non-negotiable. So, you know, I can turn down social occasions and just be in bed.
That's discipline.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Brian, you get to wake up at 6:30 and play volleyball. So let's change that language. I know that's the positive way.
Exactly.
You
Oh,
don't
it's the
have
best
to.
time of the week.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so cool because most people that understand sleep live that fulfilled life, and having an unwinding routine, even if it includes things that may not be at the optimal level of unwinding, like watching TV, it's still a matter of what you're watching, right? If you're going to watch something that has a low energy to it, like The Housewives, you're probably not going to sleep well. But if you're watching, Joel Osteen or something uplifting for you, then that's going to actually program a better recovery and access to more information. And it will maybe set off the level of blue light that comes that people think is negative by having a screen on when you're going to bed. I do believe if you're going to watch TV, that you should use your sleep timer so that, when you do pass out and you get to REM, that TV's off, because you'll sleep better with that TV off.
Oh.
But more, go ahead, B.
Well, yeah, I do it. Yeah, I don't bring it into my room, but I do actually listen to podcasts before I go to sleep. And for one, the TV I watch is usually educational, so it's like my one time of the day that I can learn more instead of like output. Right? It's always just output during the day. I can finally get some input of knowledge, and then I listen to podcasts before I go to sleep. But I put my phone, on do not like. You can turn it off on airplane mode and stuff, and download the podcast and listen. And my mind always races, so I have to listen to something. So I'm actually learning until the moment I go to sleep.
Love it.
It's kind of like school. It's kind of like school. It'll put you to sleep. So different strokes for different folks.
Dude, it's now done like 3 or 4 minutes. I can get to sleep so quickly because I have everything dialed in.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's really important because I have a sleep coach for 17 and a half years. I have an unwinding routine. I'm very intentional about a third of my life. I am most intentional about my sleep, and it does become so easy. It drives people crazy because you will fall asleep in minutes and moments. while other people toss and turn, and they can't understand how efficient you become with recovery and access to information. And that recovery is more important than most people realize, that you're able to get to wake up at 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday morning when everybody else is hungover, and increase your vibe by playing volleyball with friends, and elevating yourself by stepping out with your shirt off and jumping on another podcast to help other people go to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Well, and get the sun, get that circadian rhythm going too. Also, when I get up, what my next goal is to get a house. I'm in Austin, right? It's pretty hard to own a house near downtown Austin, but so I can get out immediately in the morning. So I just have this apartment, and I'll just walk outside and just get at least some light on my face to kick it off in the morning.
Priceless. Yeah. So many nuggets right now. I know that you're a master and a Jedi when it comes to nutrition and so forth, Brian. There's a lot of myths in the nutrition space industry. What's something that you can give us today, everybody listening, that we can grasp that could actually help us immediately, that people might not know in regards to nutrition?
I guess the easiest stuff, there's a lot out there. I mean, the main food lie, my stuff's called food lies, right? So the main stuff is that meat's healthy. You know, red meat, eggs, like this stuff is the healthiest thing you can eat. So I think a lot of people know that by now, I hope. You know, like there's still some people who don't know that, right? They're still following like the government guidelines, all this stuff. So I'm making an entire 6-part documentary series explaining how we got things wrong, and how, you know, red meat and eggs, stuff like this are perfect food. But like something more practical for people is change the ratio of your food. You can eat, sometimes you can even eat the same foods. I'm not saying eat junk food, but you can eat the same kind of meals. But if you want to lose weight and gain muscle, you can just change the ratios of what you're eating, and it can make a huge difference. So I grew up in Hawaii, and we would eat these plate lunches, and it was like 3 scoops of rice, some macaroni salad that's made with mayonnaise, and a little bit of meat. And so now if I go home to Hawaii, I'll completely flip it. I'll get double meat. You order double meat, you get 1 scoop of rice, and you don't get macaroni salad. You can get like kimchi, right? There's a lot of like Asian influence in Hawaii. Kimchi is great. So now my meal is completely different. Double protein, little bit of rice, some kimchi, and I just changed everything. And that's going to help like really cut down body fat, and you can like gain muscle at the same time if you eat like that.
Will that help us look like you?
I hope so. And you got to play some volleyball and lift some weights. I don't know. I only lift an hour a week. So it's not like you have to dedicate your life to becoming a bodybuilder or anything. But I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm a pretty slim guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm standing next to a guy who actually lifts weights, I don't look very good. But you can do minimal effort. I try to like, what's the most efficient way to get in the gym? And it's 2 30-minute sessions, and that's it.
Dave, what were you gonna say?
Oh, well, I think, people sometimes misinterpret what we're doing, and it's a matter of having this balance of nutrition, of exercise, of spending a time. So just because you're spending a minimum of an hour a day on your health doesn't mean you're lifting weights an hour a day.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
so we need stretching and balance and exercise, playing volleyball, tennis, whatever your joy is. Walking. Yeah, movement is great. And it's so funny because I've found everybody has to do what's best for them and to put their intention into it. But the basics are sleep, water, food, and breathing. And what's ironic is if you don't do those 4 things, you will die. If you don't sleep, if you don't eat, if you don't drink water, and if you don't and I'm losing. What did I say? Die, eat, sleep. Help me out. Breathe. Yeah, the obvious one. If you don't breathe, but people. So why not start it? If you're wondering where to start, then you find the experts on sleep, breathing, water, and diet, food, and get to where they want to be. It's not rocket science. You're not going to spend $1 million on some superfood. More people stress out about food that overcomes the healthy foods that they eat. The stress actually creates more cortisol and more damage to their body because they're doing shit, stressing themselves out over food instead of being like Brian and just saying, hey, look, I'm just going to reapportion my favorite blue light plate special in Honolulu. I'm just going to reapportion it with no stress. I'm still going to get to taste the rice and just double up on the meat. And all of a sudden you have less stress and better nutrition for you. So look at the 4 basic needs of the human being, and look for balance in those, and look for help, like Brian.
Yeah.
Beautifully said.
I love that
Um,
message. I love that message because that's what I do. Because I know some of these health influencers, and they're so stressed out, they like won't eat. There's some people that they'll show up to all these events and they've never eaten once, and then people are like asking them if they have eating disorders,
Right.
and I don't know. Maybe they're gonna live like 5 years longer than me. So maybe no, but really, like it's not about creating stress. It's about making things easy. So yeah, I'm not saying minimize your health and only spend 30 minutes twice a week. It's I spend hours and hours a day on my health, right, doing other things, and it just fits into my day. But also, I want to make it easy. I want to make it doable. So like say in the gym, I only do the 30-minute workouts as a minimum, and well, actually, I don't do more because I know I can do it. I know it's going to fit in my schedule. I know no matter what, if I'm traveling, I can do my workout in a hotel gym, and I know I can do it. It's like a non-negotiable, right? But if I had to do 3 1-hour sessions, I'm not. Then it's just I'm on the trip, and I'm just like it's not going to work, and then I skip it. But for me, it's 30 minutes. I have this inner dialogue. I'm like, you have to do it. There's no way you're not doing this. And then I just do it every week, consistently, 52 weeks a year.
That's it. Speaking of consistency, we're on the Paradigm Shift episode 177. Tomo, hang out for 2 minutes. I want you to tell everyone where they can grab your product. Real quick, I want to land the plane with Brian. Tell us about the difference or this concept of nutrients versus energy, real quick.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing. That's a little bit like my example with the plate lunch and changing your food ratio. That is a concept of nutrients versus energy, and that's kind of the general concept of what makes something healthy, like a diet healthy. Your body doesn't care what the name of your diet. It doesn't care if you're paleo or keto or carnivore or vegan. It cares about nutrients, so which are proteins, vitamins, minerals, and it cares about energy, which is usually from fats and carbs that gets you through the day, right? But most people have those backwards. They're getting not enough protein, vitamins, and minerals, and they're getting too much energy, right? Energy is like empty calories. Like my mom, my grandma even said this: don't eat empty calories, right? That's like all the processed foods, that's soda, that's everything that is bad for you, or it's just even, just extra bread in your day. It's just extra energy, right? This is what makes you fat. You're not getting fat from proteins, vitamins, and minerals. So the nutrient to energy concept is something where you don't have to think of yourself as like, oh, well, I'm paleo or I'm this or I'm that. It's just like you can look at foods in a different way. And all good diets have a high nutrient to energy ratio, basically. I don't know if it's a little nerdy, but if that makes sense.
We're all nerds. It's okay.
Yeah.
And Brian, real quick, what's the best way for everybody to follow you and support you and check out what you have going on?
Yeah, hit Food Lies anywhere you are. Here, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Check out my intro. I got a documentary series coming out, so check out that intro. It's really good. It's the 3.5 minutes on Food Lies YouTube.
I love it. Thank you, brother. And we can't wait to connect to you after. And Tomo, brother, where can everybody grab your awesome product? And maybe just tell me exactly what it is.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I got nose to tail. So, yeah, this is an old beat up hat, but we do regenerative agriculture. We have the best quality animal foods, and we sell body care products made from beef tallow and dried beef sticks and stuff like that. So really clean stuff. Nosetotale.org.
Love it. Tomo, how about you?
We sell ketchup. Everybody loves ketchup. It's launching on Amazon this weekend. It's launching on TikTok Shop probably within the next couple of weeks. I've spent most of this week not battling, but working out how to get onto TikTok Shop. It's not the easiest process in the world, but
oh, it's hard.
It's really, really hard. I think I've now got a direct line of communication open with somebody at TikTok, so fingers crossed. And then in October, we're launching chicken sauce and ranch dressing. They should be, all three of these should be hitting retail stores from November onwards in time for holiday.
And you made this product to cater to kids, correct?
It's as it says on the front, for kids of all ages. But yeah, I mean, the whole ethos of Noshi, the whole thing, the thing that sort of made it the way it came into being was I was a stay-at-home parent and my kids were just not interested in mealtime. So I did some research, and the research all says the same thing, which is if you give them more responsibility and let them feel more empowered at mealtimes, they just eat their food. The reason that they have mealtime meltdowns all the time is that they feel out of control. They don't feel like they have any control over the situation. So even if you're giving them their favorite food, if they feel out of control, they'll still have a tantrum. Whereas if you give them some responsibility and make them feel like equals, they love that, obviously, and they eat more food.
I love it. Love you both. Thank you guys. Uncle Dave, where are you traveling next? Aside from today, how can people get involved and how can they get into your community?
Yeah, I'll be in the Infinite Growth Conference in VCon this weekend. Then I'll be in Dallas at AmpCon next week. We'll do at SoFi Stadium, my office, a mastermind in Los Angeles. But just reach out to me, email me directly. I'd love to be of service. I will say one thing about nutrition and energy, which is really important, is what you're eating. Is it interfering with the energy that we're connected to and through? And looking at food or nutrition in processing that energy compared to, you don't need any extra energy. It's what you're doing to interfere with that energy. And then the nutritions allow us to utilize it in its maximum way. But I'm happy to help everyone. I do have someone for you to meet with TikTok Shop, Tono. So Verb, I work with these guys. They have Marketplace Live with TikTok. And he just got back from China. So they have a direct connect to TikTok Shop. So if you guys, both of you need help, just reach out to me, david@dmeltzer.com. Craig's wedding's coming up, most importantly, September 7th. The man is getting married. I will be there the 6th and 7th. He finally gave me the hotel to stay at. So I'm now coming for sure. I'm going to show up, and hopefully they won't ask, does anybody object? No, I'm just kidding. I love you all. Thanks for taking the time.
Easy, guys. Really
Thanks
nice
for
to be
the
a part of
nuggets.
it. Thanks
Have
so
a great
much.
weekend, guys.
Happy Saturday.
Bye, guys. We'll be back next week for episode 178. And thank you to our awesome guests. And thank you, as always, to my co-pilot and partner in crime, Big Dave, for 177 weeks in a row. Unbelievable consistency, commitment, and discipline. We created a brand with the paradigm shift, and our goal is to just share some wisdom and hopefully elevate and inspire you guys to have a better weekend and just step up your game in any capacity possible. So if you enjoy the show, share it with a friend, let us know in the comments, message or email Dave or I, and just let us know. And we love you guys. Thank you so much, Tomo and Brian. Everyone check out everything that I have going on and thank us later. Love you guys. Have a good weekend.